In this lecture, Professor Carol Chappell will explain how technology is used for teaching second language vocabulary.
In this lecture, we'll start out by looking at the connection between technology and vocabulary today. We'll then meet our vocabulary expert, Professor Jim Rinaldi. I'm going to ask Jim why vocabulary is so important for students to learn. And then we'll ask him what teachers should know about vocabulary in order to teach it well. We'll then ask him some specific advice about how to teach vocabulary. And finally, we'll look at how technology can help our students who are trying to learn second language vocabulary. There are many important connections between technology and vocabulary today. Technology provides access to many different ways for students to study vocabulary. Also, teachers can find many resources to help teach vocabulary on the internet. Let's take a look at two examples of vocabulary teaching activities. The first one comes from Voice of America's section called News Words. And then the second is the vocabulary that's in the news stories. This page of News Words is one example of vocabulary on the Voice of America web pages. In this section, the authors have taken words they found in news stories, and they have created little mini lessons about each of the words. For example, we see a number of words that students might find difficult in these news stories. The news stories was about the Ethiopian Olympic gold medal athlete. She won the gold medal, and as part of the story, they talked about how she had obliterated previous records. So on the website, what's highlighted is the word obliterated. This is probably a word that most students wouldn't know. But in this section, it gives the students a chance to take a look at the word, see it in context, and also hear it when they listen to the story. In another section of the Voice of America website, we see the actual news stories. This is one example of a story about the very historic meeting of our outgoing president, Barack Obama, with our new incoming president, Donald Trump. The title is Changing Presidents Can Be a Very Stressful Process. Under the story, we can see a text that has a number of words that may also be good targets for vocabulary learning. Some of the words are in bold, such as in the second sentence, the president-elect's transition team now needs to choose who will work in his administration. The word transition is highlighted, meaning that that's a vocabulary word. Following the story is a list of those words that were highlighted. Here, transition is listed, and it's defined as a change from one group or state or condition to another. Okay, so a change. So the story is talking about a transition team, that is, a team that's responsible for managing the change. A good strategy for the student is to look at the definition, then look back at the news story to see how it's used in context. One of the things we want to teach when we teach vocabulary is how the words are actually used in sentences.